greatest heroes of the Bible. The story of a woman who finds that she alone can save her people from destruction, and of a king marked for death in a man's quest for power, of a people's struggle against prejudice and oppression, led by a queen who must risk her life as well as her crown. The story of a woman who became one of the greatest heroes of all time. The story of Esther. Starring Victoria Principal as Esther, Noah Beery as Mordecai, Michael Ansara as Haman, Eddie Mecca as Uri, Paul Carr as Belzar, and Robert Mandan as King Xerxes.
The Israelite people had been forced from their homeland and into slavery by Nebuchadnezzar. Now, many years later in the city of Susa, they sought a peaceful coexistence with their Persian captors. But this was becoming increasingly difficult. The palace guard, under the orders of the king's first minister, Haman, had been preying upon the Hebrews. There had been robberies and beatings, and always humiliation.
You miserable cowards! That's all you're good for, tormenting old people and frightening children! Take a warning to Haman, your master. Tell him he pushes us too far. Tell him the living God, the God of the Hebrews, will soon punish him for these crimes. Arrest him! You'll have to catch me first, you lead-footed turtle. After him!
Don't let them by.
Close up! Come back here!
Sorry, oh father, I didn't mean to scare you.
I thought you were one of Haman's soldiers. They're searching all over for me.
Where did he go? We've lost the Hebrew dog. Does anyone know who he is?
I know him, Belzar. We've had trouble with him before. His name is Uri.
By all the gods, Uri will pay for this. 10 pieces of silver to the man who brings me his head.
Why are they trying to find you?
I escaped from Haman's prison last night. I know he's plotting to kill the king.
And he's afraid you'll get to the king before he can stop you, eh?
I will die if I have to. If I can expose that traitor, Haman.
Keep out of sight.
Persia was the mightiest empire in the world, and Xerxes ruled more than 100 of its provinces. Since his subjects looked upon him as a god, entering the king's presence unbidden was considered an insult punishable by death.
I will let this man Uri humiliate your majesty's God and insult Lord Haman. But he committed the most unpardonable sin of all, majesty. He called the Hebrew God the one and only living God.
Haman, the king's first minister, sought to destroy every Hebrew in the empire, unaware of the secret kept by the new queen, Esther, that she herself was a Hebrew.
Have I your permission to speak, great king?
Speak, Haman.
I have taken the liberty to draw up this decree. Your Majesty has only to sign it to rid himself of these accursed Hebrews once and for all.
Is it right that all the Hebrews should perish for the crimes of one man?
Your Majesty is a woman, may not understand such things. These wicked people live by their own secret and accursed laws and flout ours. It is not fitting that the mightiest ruler in the world should tolerate them.
Forgive my ignorance, Lord Haman, but do not these same Hebrews pay taxes into the king's treasury?
I have thought of that, O worthy queen. And if the almighty Xerxes will sign this decree, I myself will pay him 10,000 talents of silver to ensure against any loss of revenue.
Why would you do this, Haman?
Because everything I have belongs to my king. I would gladly part with everything I possess to ensure the safety of His Majesty's rule.
Take my seal, worthy Haman.
I thank your magnificence.
Use it as you will.
Treason! Bloody treason! I must see the king! Let me through, you fools! Let me through! I must see him!
This old man Boz, how did he get here?
I must speak to the king! Your lordship, I beg you hear my words. Your life is at stake. Treason, your majesty. Bloody treason surrounds your holy being.
Who dares enter the inner courts of Xerxes without being summoned?
They want to destroy you. I will point them out.
Guards, do your duty.
Take this man out and hang him.
Are you not being too severe, my lord?
It is a harsh law, but a necessary one. If anyone, Haman, even you, no matter how great, were to enter into my presence unsummoned, they would suffer the same fate. If I did not instantly reach out my scepter for them to touch. Have you set the date for the destruction of the Hebrews?
My astrologers have chosen the 13th day of the 12th month, the month of Adar, your majesty. On that day, all Hebrews, every man, woman, and child will be killed, and their goods confiscated.
So be it. Come, my queen.
That was too close for comfort, Belzar. If that old man had talked. We must see to it he is hanged immediately.
My lord, Bigthan will want revenge for his father's death.
Bigthan is a stupid soldier. He did not even know I had his troublesome father in prison for nearly a year.
He will blame the king, my lord. It plays right into your hands.
The divine king is a divine fool. One day all of this will be mine.
Including our tender new queen.
Oh, most especially the lovely Esther. If I had no other reason to steal the king's throne, the promised delights of Esther would be enough.
The 13th day of Adar. That's less than a month away.
That's why I've come to warn you, Cousin Mordecai.
I'm afraid it's to no purpose. The king's provinces are endless. Where could we run? But it was brave of you to come.
My dear Mordecai, I owe you everything. You raised me when my parents died, and it was you who made me go to the palace when the king was choosing a bride.
You were too modest to think you even had a chance. But I always knew you'd be chosen queen.
Yes, but what good is it if I can't help my people? Perhaps the time has come for me to reveal that I am a Hebrew.
No, not now. Haman is far too powerful, especially since he's offered the king a present of 10,000 talents.
Cunning Haman knew the king would never accept the offer. And even if he had, Haman will make 10 times 10,000 when he confiscates the Hebrew belongings.
Yuri. Johanna. And the Queen. This is an honor. You don't have to tell me why you're here. News of the great massacre has leaked all over town. The 13th of Adar. Proclamations have already been printed. And I am the one they hold responsible.
Don't blame yourself, Yuri. Haman would have found another pretext or invented one to suit his purposes. He's been planning this a very long time.
If only we had arms to protect ourselves.
You'd still be no match for Haman's armies.
But at least we can put up a fight.
Don't give up hope. You may get your arms. We may prevail in other ways.
With your help, my queen?
With the help of God, Yuri. We'd better go. The king might miss me. I'll see you at the usual time. And don't take any unnecessary chances.
Don't worry. I'm smarter than he is, even if he is my brother.
Goodbye, Mordecai.
Go with God, Esther.
I've killed hundreds of the king's enemies, and this is the thanks I get. My own father hanged. Cut him down.
But it is forbidden.
Do as I say. He was your father's brother. Haman is right. Xerxes does not deserve to be king. So I swear to you, Father, the king will pay dearly. A life or a life.
Is something troubling you, my lord?
I sent for you last night. You were not in the palace.
True, my lord. I was gone for a short while.
You presume to leave without asking my permission?
I'm distressed if I've offended my king, but I did not realize that I was a prisoner.
You are a queen, and a queen has certain duties.
I'm sorry if I've disappointed you, Xerxes. But if I left the palace last night, it was for good reason.
Name it.
Must I?
You play games with me, madam.
I'd hoped to keep it a secret, but if your majesty insists. I wanted to surprise you with the finest cloak in the world for your birthday. To this end, I've spent my free evenings, last night among them, consulting the leading purveyors of cloth and fine linen, the most skillful tailors.
You've gone to all this trouble just to get me a cloak?
I have no secrets from you.
Wait for me in your chambers. I'll join you as soon as my business is finished.
As my majesty commands.
You heard?
I listened as you bade me, sire.
Then I need say no more. Never has a man been blessed with so loving a wife. Your suspicions were unworthy.
If I erred, your majesty, it was because of an excess of zeal on your behalf.
No one appreciates that more than I, loyal Haman. But your zeal should be directed against my enemies.
And so it is, your majesty. If you will glance closely at these decrees.
Even before the 13th of Adar, the date set for the destruction of the Hebrews, Haman ordered a tax on the people he so despised. People were slaughtered like cattle and their property stolen.
This offends me, Belzar.
My apologies, Majesty. You may go. If I may venture a word of caution, my queen, it's very dangerous to walk in the Hebrew quarters unguarded.
The danger does not come from the Hebrews, Belzar.
No danger from the Hebrews. She said that.
Those were her words.
Strange. Very strange. She's as mysterious as she is beautiful. It seems to me, Belzar, we know so little of our queen's background.
Too much inquiry might be dangerous, Excellency.
I still want to know more about this woman I plan to have.
I await your instructions, my Lord Haman.
Follow her, Belzar. Every step she takes outside the palace. I want to know where she goes, what she does, whom she sees.
It shall be done, Excellency.
He passes this way each morning. Should be here by now. Ah. Here he comes.
I'm not going to harm you, boy. I only want you to deliver a message to your brother Yuri.
I don't know where Yuri is. He's hiding someplace.
Then you must find him. This message is important.
You think I'm stupid? You're only after the reward.
You're wrong. I swear it. Tell him that it has to do with delivering his people from their greatest enemy. I can say no more.
It's a trick!
It's no trick, boy. Let him come to the plain of Amani at the break of dawn. He'll be able to see for miles. I'll be alone, and unarmed.
If I do happen to see him, not that I expect to, I'll tell him.
Good lad.
It could be a trap. I don't trust Bigthan.
Who does?
Are you going to give Yuri the message?
He'll be mad if I don't. Anyway, Yuri can take care of himself.
Yusuf, ask Mordecai to find out what he can. I'll meet with him tomorrow while the king is sleeping. Mordecai can pick the place.
Uncle Mordecai says to be extra careful.
I will. And you be careful, too.
I'm always careful. That's what makes me the cleverest peddler in the quarter.
I knew you would come.
Say what you have to say.
I need your help to get rid of the greatest enemy of your people. King Xerxes.
The king? I thought you meant Haman.
Don't be a fool. It's the king who gives the orders.
With the king out of the way, there'd be no one to stop Haman.
Haman is nothing without the support of the army. And that depends on me.
Why should you want to kill the king?
That's my business. Are you in this thing with me or not?
Let's hear your plan.
Yuri always was headstrong. I told him it would be foolhardy to go along with the plan.
He had to, cousin. Else Bigthan would have chosen another accomplice and another scheme. Then there would have been no one to stop him.
But wouldn't it have been more practical simply to denounce him?
A Hebrew's word against Bigthan's? A Hebrew with a price on his head? No, Mordecai. But it might do some good to let Xerxes know that it was the Hebrew who warned of the plot against his life.
Make no mention of any names, Esther. We cannot risk having Haman discover a link between us.
Well, I find it hard to believe that a Hebrew would seek to save my life, particularly after my recent edicts against them.
Perhaps they're hoping you'll relent, sire.
Well, we both know that's impossible. Once it's become the king's law, not even I can change it.
I am sure something could be done, my lord.
Let's not quibble, Esther. This Hebrew, does he have a name?
He begged me not to divulge it.
Well, doesn't matter. Says I'm sure the warning is groundless to start with.
Your Majesty, tomorrow is the first day of Adar. It's customary for Your Majesty to attend the temple of Karu, and it's there the assassination is scheduled to take place.
Why, there I'll be heavily guarded as usual.
I don't know the details, but I implore you not to go.
I must. If only to find out if your Hebrew friend is telling the truth.
Xerxes, please, for the love I bear you.
Dear Esther, would you have them believe that your husband's a coward? That he's too frightened to perform his sacred duty?
I knew no words I could say would dissuade you. But promise me one thing, that you'll keep a sharp lookout and alert your guards to do the same.
That I promise you.
A perfect fit. It's a simple ceremony. The bowl and the staff. I stand in front of the altar. You behind me. The king steps forward to accept the bowl from my hands and sip the wine, in token of the fealty Koru owes to his divine majesty. Then you hand him the staff to show that Koru will never bear arms against the king. Except that the king will never drink the wine. He'll taste my dagger first.
What do we do with them?
Your question proves that you Hebrews have no manners. First, you thank them, of course, for the use of their priestly vestments. And then you kill them.
Rest easy. I will not hurt you. This will be all the blood that I will need.
What now?
He has his instructions, and you have yours. After I stab the king, I'll run this way. Yuri after me. That's when you grab him and hold on tight.
I'll throw the bloody dagger at his feet and take off. Then you yell as loud as you can, "I've got him! I've got the assassin!"
But why go to all this trouble?
Because, my simple Teresh, as the son and nephew of a man the king hanged, we would be prime suspects. This way, a Hebrew fugitive bears all the blame, and we will share the reward.
Oh. I knew you would understand as soon as I mentioned money. Get back. Is it done? Good. Let us take our positions at the altar.
Where is he?
In there!
And the one who felled the assassin was also a Hebrew?
So I've been given to understand, sire.
By the same Hebrew who warned of the plot.
And who arranged for it to fail.
I owe the man my life. But how can I reward him if I don't even know his name?
There is a way, Your Majesty.
I have already explained. I cannot break my own edict.
No, sire. But you can fashion a new one, giving Hebrews the right to bear arms in their defense.
Let it be done.
I will draw up the decree, Majesty.
Come, my queen.
Are you thinking of a change in plans?
No. We're too far along to make a change. The slaughter of the Hebrews will signal the beginning of the uprising against Xerxes.
Every minority in the empire will think they're next. Xerxes will tumble from his throne like a clay pot.
We must keep Xerxes' anger stirred against the Hebrews. We need a scapegoat, and now, Belzar.
You've got one, my lord. The man who saved the king in the temple is the one who actually instigated the plot against his life. The Hebrew Yuri. He only suffered a last-minute change of heart when he thought of the consequences to his people.
If we could capture Yuri, we could put him to torture, force a confession. Trouble is, we haven't even come close to apprehending him.
Bigthan supplied another piece of information that might make it easier. Yuri has a younger brother, Yusuf, a boy not yet 12. Every morning he comes to the Queen's quarters, supposedly to peddle merchandise.
Supposedly?
It's been suggested that the real purpose of his visits is to transmit messages.
It would be interesting, would it not? If we could prove a strong connection between these people and our lovely Queen.
Suppose the Queen were a Hebrew.
Sweet, delicious, enchanting Esther. A Hebrew.
There's one way to find out, my lord.
The boy.
If we can get him to talk.
Have no fear, Belzar. He will talk.
Is that him?
Yes. Should we take him now?
No, the Queen is evidently expecting him. She might start asking questions if he does not show up.
Hey, you. Let's see what's in the bundle.
It's worth my life to tell you this, but they're planning to arrest you. If you have any influence with the Queen, now's the time to get her to put in a good word.
What kind of junk is this?
Not junk. It's real good merchandise. Here, you can take this for your wife.
You trying to bribe me, you Hebrew whelp? Off with you.
First, we must find a way to get you out of the palace. But even now, on no account are you to go back to Mordecai's. It's too easy for them to find out where you live. And don't try to get a message to Mordecai. It's much too dangerous.
He'll be worried about me.
I'm afraid it can't be helped. I'll get word to him as soon as I can. Is there any place you can stay?
I can go to Samkar, the rug merchant.
Good, but don't let anyone see you in the marketplace.
I won't.
They'll be taking out the kitchen refuse soon. It will give us a chance to smuggle you out.
Oh, no.
Oh, yes.
You're dressed early, Uncle.
I didn't go to sleep. Yusuf didn't come home yesterday. I don't know what's happened to him.
Did you contact Esther?
But I couldn't. Yusuf's our only go-between.
Doesn't matter. I'm sure she would have gotten a message to you if she knew anything.
Well, not necessarily. The situation is very tense with the 13th of Adar so close. I specifically begged her not to take any chances.
If they hurt that boy, they'll answer to me. I swear it.
Yuri, you must keep your head. You must be calm. We must have faith in the Lord.
Our people will need more than faith to save them on the 13th of Adar.
Yuri.
I'm sorry.
Open for the king's minister.
It's Haman.
Come with me, Uncle.
No, it's you they're after.
You can't be positive.
You've got to get out of here as quickly as you can. I'll go out and see if I can delay them. I'm coming!
Are you Mordecai?
I am.
You know who I am?
Everyone knows who you are, great lord. You are Haman, the king's minister.
What are you waiting for, dog? Prostrate yourself. Scum. You dare defy the royal decree to worship me as you would the king?
My lord, I am Hebrew. Our religion forbids that I worship anyone but God.
Prostrate yourself. Prostrate yourself! Arrest this man!
What are we waiting for? Is it better to be slaughtered like sheep? We have the weapons. Now's the time to use them.
I'd do anything to save Mordecai. But we're too weak to attack the palace.
We can at least create a diversion. It may be possible for me and a small group to penetrate the palace walls and make our way to the dungeon. Anything is better than doing nothing at all.
Yuri!
Yusuf! Where have you been? What happened?
Haman wanted to arrest me. Esther told me not to go back to Mordecai's.
Yusuf, can you return to the palace and see the queen?
If they don't catch me first.
You'll have to be very careful and chance it. Someone must tell Esther Mordecai's been arrested. Else he'll be slaughtered.
But what can Esther do?
Talk to the king. Possibly arrange a hearing. She may even influence him to spare Mordecai. What do you say, my little brother?
I say, I wish I were as brave as you are.
How do you know this Mordecai?
He's a tailor, my lord. I commissioned him to make your cloak.
There are other tailors.
But none as skilled as he. Besides, he's a very good man, Xerxes.
I'm sure Haman's made a mistake.
My prime minister doesn't make mistakes.
Humor me, my lord. It's such a small matter.
And a boring one. Very well, Esther. Your tailor will have his hearing. My dear Haman, I beg of you, be brief.
Willingly, Majesty, I'll come to the point. Do you deny you refuse to prostrate yourself before me, as the king's law prescribes?
My lord, my Hebrew religion will not permit me to prostrate myself to any man or worship anyone other than God.
If I were to ask you to prostrate yourself before the king, would you also refuse?
I am a loyal subject of the king and will obey him in all temporal matters.
Answer the question, Mordecai. Are you willing to worship the king as do the rest of his subjects?
No, my lord.
Prostrate yourself before me.
I, Xerxes, command you. I will obey your majesty in all things, but I can only prostrate myself in front of my own God.
My lord.
Silence, Esther! This is what comes of your meddling.
My divine and all-powerful king, I propose to make an example of this man. I have commissioned to be built a gallows 75 cubits high, so that all may see what happens to those who refuse to revere your most gracious and hallowed majesty.
When will this gallows be ready?
No more than a day, Majesty.
Take the wretch away.
Your Majesty.
I ordered you to be silent, woman.
Leave me! All of you!
It's just a question of hours. I must speak to the king. I can't wait any longer.
You can't go to him until he summons you, Esther. It would mean your life.
It will mean Mordecai's life if I don't try.
And will it do any good to throw away yours, too? Mordecai has already condemned himself.
But he hasn't done anything wrong. I must explain to Xerxes.
Xerxes is what he is, Esther. You can't change him.
But I must try. I can't stand by and watch Mordecai hang.
Dear Esther, I too grieve for Mordecai. Must I shed more bitter tears for you?
I have no choice, Johanna. I must prepare myself to speak with the king.
Who comes?
I, my lord.
You dare to enter my presence unsummoned.
Extend your scepter, my great king. Forgive me and hear my plea.
Do you count upon my softness, woman? Has it not been made clear to you that I myself am bound by my own laws?
Very clear, my lord. I would not have broken the law if it were not a matter of the greatest urgency.
What is this matter? How urgent can it be?
Just this. If you were kind to me, my great king, if I have found favor in your eyes, give me my life. On the 13th of Adar, just 3 days from now, Haman will destroy me and my people. If we were only to be sold as slaves, I would not trouble your majesty. It would not be worth intruding upon your thoughts. But he means to kill us all.
Why did you not tell me you were Hebrew?
I feared losing you, my beloved king. I was afraid you might not want me. But if you had asked, I would have told you. I'm forgiven then.
Forgiven. I can protect you as my queen, but I can do nothing about the 13th of Adar. It has already become law.
There's a matter of more pressing urgency, my majesty. The Hebrew Mordecai.
I beg you to spare his life.
Do you provoke me again?
He meant no disrespect, my lord. He was obeying his religion just as you obey yours. Besides, there's something you should know. The Hebrew who saved your life, the time has come to reveal he was the very selfsame Mordecai.
Is this true?
I would never lie to you, my king.
A man who saves the king's life deserves a better reward than hanging. How shall we honor him?
Let Haman decide.
Haman?
If your lord will bear with me, invite Haman to dine with us tonight.
Tonight I dine with Her Majesty's Balzar. It seems the king never tires of finding new ways to show his esteem.
In a week or so, you may be able to return the honor, my lord.
You are blessed with the sardonic wits.
Once we've seized the palace, Xerxes' head shall decorate the gates.
And yours will recline on his silken pillows.
But a kiss away from paradise with Esther.
Ah,
Your Majesties.
please do not stand on ceremony, old friend.
Make yourself comfortable.
To your continued good health.
And to yours, faithful Haman. Tell me, Haman, how should the king honor one who has rendered him the greatest possible service? Speak frankly, my friend.
Someone who's rendered me the greatest possible service?
Those are our words.
Well, Your Majesty, if I were king and someone were to render me such a service, I would give him the royal mantle to wear. Then I would put him upon a horse that the king has ridden, with a royal crown upon its head. Then I would have a noble officer lead that horse around the square in front of the palace so that everyone may see what is done for the man that the king wants to honor.
Well spoken, Haman.
I shall do as you say. Here is my royal mantle.
I thank Your Majesty.
Tomorrow morning you will place it on the shoulders of the Hebrew Mordecai.
Mordecai? Yes. Then you will set him upon my horse and lead him about the palace square.
Your Majesty, this is some kind of joke.
No joke, Haman. Esther has revealed it was Mordecai who warned of the plot against me. It was he who saved my life.
Congratulations, madam. Your relations with the Hebrews seem to stand you in good stead.
To your help, Lord Haman.
My lady, are you sure this is the right thing to do?
Haman must be destroyed completely. Our people will never be safe as long as he lives.
These things are the business of men, my lady. What can a woman, even such as you, do?
The men of the world have deprived us of every office but two, Johanna, love and childbearing.
The king is a jealous man. He would never forgive you if he found you with Haman.
Perhaps not. But the important thing is that he would never allow Haman to go on living.
Madam, I beg you, think of your honor.
My honor? What shall I call my honor when my nation lies in bloody slaughter at my feet?
May God fill you with strength, my lady. May he make you radiant in beauty, the better to dazzle the eyes of the serpent.
Oh, my God. Bless me as you did Abraham and Moses. Give me strength, even as our fathers, to do what I must. that Israel may live.
Let Mordecai enjoy his moment of triumph. In 2 days, it will be the 13th of Adar. And he'll perish with the rest of his tribe.
The provinces are seething. The slaughter of the Hebrews will be the spark that sets the revolution ablaze.
The gallows are waiting for the Hebrew dog.
If it please your excellency, the queen requests that you attend her in her chamber.
The queen? In her chambers?
Yes, my lord.
Inform her Majesty I will attend her presently.
My lord, is this wise? You know how jealous the king is.
Yes, so does Esther. Would she risk any more than I?
I fear the wiles of a beautiful woman more than all the armies of Greece.
A man who would dare be master of the whole world would hardly fear the charms of a woman. Perhaps I will not have to wait until Xerxes has been removed.
Noble king, the queen's handmaiden begs audience on an important matter.
Just what is this important matter?
More wine, my lord.
I thank you, Majesty. You put yourself in jeopardy, and me as well. May I know why?
I've always thought you an ambitious man, my lord. A man who knows what he wants and is not afraid to take it.
You know me well, madam. But I'm also a very patient man.
Patience is such a cold virtue. Have I been mistaken? Perhaps it's not passion that I've seen in your eyes.
You are not mistaken, my lady.
Would make a bargain with you, my lord, about the decree.
Yes, madam.
Prevail upon the king to repeal it. Do this for me, and you may ask what you will.
Unfortunately, there's nothing I can do. I have not the power.
Even if I were to tell you that I myself am Hebrew.
Indeed, madam. That explains many things.
Will you try then? For my sake.
For your sake. No, sweet, delicious Esther. I will purge the Hebrews from the face of the earth. But I will save you from destruction for my sake.
Please, my lord, don't do this thing.
1 day or 3 days from now, what difference does it make? You are mine now, Esther.
Lord Haman, I'm the king's wife. Would you dishonor the king himself?
Son of the king, I'll do more than that. I'll cast him from the throne and hang his head on a palace gate.
No! No! Xerxes! My king, my husband! Help me! I love...
Quiet and cry out. It will do you no good.
Save me! Help me! Someone...
Haman!
Help!
Your Majesty, I can explain. It's a trick.
Crawling.
No, Your Majesty, it's a woman. She tricked me. She tried to seduce me.
You have put your foul hands on my wife and my queen.
Mercy, mercy, great king. Hear me out.
I will show you the same mercy you gave your enemy Mordecai.
I only tried to save the empire. Guards! It's these Hebrews are traitorous jackals.
Take Haman out and hang him from the same gallows he built for Mordecai.
No, Your Majesty, she's one of them. She's a Hebrew. No.
Hang him high
No.
so that all may see. I am sorry you were subjected to this, dear Esther. I never suspected him.
He's always been wicked and your enemy, my king. And now that you are aware of it, my gracious lord.
If it pleases you in your infinite mercy, please repeal the decree against my people.
I cannot do that, Esther.
Then permit my people to arm themselves sufficiently so they may defend themselves. Let my people die fighting for their lives. As you love me, my king, do this for me.
I so decree. There. It is done, sweet wife. Noble Esther.
On the 13th of Adar, now sufficiently armed by the king's latest decree, the Hebrews were able to band together and successfully fight off the attacks by Haman's forces. Belzar went looking for Mordecai, but he met Uri instead.
Belzar!
Hebrew pig!
In the Hebrew villages, it was the same. The Hebrews successfully defending their homes and driving the attackers away.
I never thought I'd be welcome in the palace. It's a strange sensation.
Uri was reunited with Johanna and rewarded for his part in saving the king's life. Mordecai was given Haman's place as prime minister and served wisely and well. Only Yusuf complained. He longed to get out of the stiff court attire and into his peddler rags. For Esther, it was a final victory for her people, and her union with Xerxes was to become one of the great enduring love stories of all time.